Hey, this is Digital Dave with another cryptocurrency and blockchain update. Hey, it was on Forbes.com and ran across this Bitcoin article saying that there could be a sudden influx of Bitcoin investors. Bitcoin and crypto traders are keenly waiting for the next wave of investors to enter the space, many expecting them to send the Bitcoin price soaring if or when they do arrive, which I believe they will. Some research by Grayscale Investments found that more than 36%, or more than a third, 36% of all US investors would consider buying Bitcoin, representing a potential market of more than 21 million investors. That's interesting, 21 million, which is how many Bitcoin will ever exist. So it's an interesting parallel there. Let's see, it goes on to say that investors are always looking for new ways to diversify their portfolio as traditional assets and markets have begun to move more closely in sync with one another. Increasingly, savvy investors recognize that Bitcoin and other digital currencies may have unique investment characteristics that provide diversification far beyond the basic 60-40 stock bond portfolio. Elsewhere, the survey found a significant crossover between Bitcoin investors and gold investors. So 69% of investors interested in Bitcoin also are invested in gold or would invest in gold. So there's an interesting parallel there as well. That's changed quite a bit. It used to be people wanted to invest in gold or Bitcoin. They couldn't, for some reason, they couldn't fathom investing in both, but now that's changing. So it looks like it's almost 70% of people that's buying gold or buying Bitcoin and vice versa. So it's there's no law that says you can't have both, and I do recommend buying gold and silver also on top of cryptocurrencies. Um, so yeah, so the article goes on to say the survey quizzed 1,100 people in the U.S. found that those who are interested in Bitcoin are most likely to keep up with financial news. In fact, less than a quarter of uninterested investors surveyed by Forbes, and that number rises to 49% when we consider investors open to Bitcoin. So people that read Forbes and other financial websites and newsletters and papers are more interested in Bitcoin. People that are not keeping up with financial news are less likely. So it goes on to here, the trend across all financial media showing that Bitcoin interested investors are more likely to be well read. So very interesting from Forbes. Now I come across this article as well here. So this was Deutsche Bank strategist predicts crypto could replace fiat money. Very, very interesting. Subheadline here, the end of fiat money, cryptocurrencies are inevitable. So I'm going to put all these links are in the description so you can read them fully. But the forces that have held the current fiat system together now look fragile, which I've been saying for a decade, and they can unravel in the 2020s. So that will start to lead a backlash against fiat money and demand for alternative currencies such as gold or crypto. Again, that's a parallel from the last article from Forbes. Okay, cryptocurrencies could replace cash in the next 10 years. All right. This is interesting graph here about the use cases for cryptocurrencies, or we'll say Bitcoin, and internet users. This graph, this is the line for the internet, the use case, and this is the graph for Bitcoin. And it's a very interesting parallel here about its use case. So it looks like, obviously, Bitcoin and cryptos is a very, very super early days. And consider that Bitcoin went as high as $20,000, and we're still early days, and it's down to 7,000, 7,500 now. But it's crazy how much of the fiat money that Bitcoin has consumed in the first 10 years. In the next 10 years, we're going to see numbers that are going to be staggering for Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and other cryptocurrencies. So to achieve widespread adoption, Labor, I think Christine Labor, forget. Oh, sorry, Marianne Labor believes that cryptocurrencies must become legitimate in the eyes of government and regulators. They must also allow for global reach and payment market, which they are starting to. Okay, and I'll let you, if you want to read the rest of this article or read it in full, link is in the description. So this brings me to another article, so allow for global reach and payment market. So let me show you this here. This is Bitcoin Cash is really starting to take over the retail market for crypto spending. Bitcoin Cash represents 93% of November's crypto spending in Australia. Now, what's interesting is that in September, Bitcoin Cash had an event, a blockchain event, a Bitcoin Cash meetup. It was pretty big deal, and that number was 90%. Let's see, yeah, about 90% then, and the skeptics were saying the only reason why it was 90% up, 90% Bitcoin Cash use in September is because of the meetup. Well, what happened is in October it was 90% as well, so that it didn't fall off. It's still up there. Now, here's what's really interesting is that um, for let's see, for November, Bitcoin Cash is now 93% of November's crypto spending in Australia. So this is how mass adoption starts. You know, it's 93% is, I mean, that's taken over the crypto market for Australia. Okay. This is how mass adoption starts. You start with, you take over one country as the Bitcoin Cash is totally consumed. Australia for crypto spending. Now these numbers are, I'll show you some numbers here. That's about $50,000. Okay, so 51 or say $52,000 up to 55, almost $56,000 was a Bitcoin Cash. Now these numbers are still pretty low. I mean, $55,000 in crypto spending in all of Australia for the month of November, for last month. It seems tiny. However, like I said earlier, this is still early days, but the fact that there's going to be a parabolic move in these cryptos. So Bitcoin Cash is going to be the Bitcoin that's taken over Australia. Now next is going to be, maybe it's going to be South America, or it's going to be a country in South America, and then maybe it's going to be Japan. I know the usage for Bitcoin Cash in Japan is up as well. I don't have the stats for that in front of me, but this crypto thing is really starting to snowball. Once it does snowball, we're going to see this $55,000 that was spent last year in Australia is going to be, before you know it, it's going to be $500,000, and then it really starts to snowball. So really excited to see Bitcoin Cash doing so well in Australia. There were skeptics that were saying it was just a fluke for September. That is obviously proven wrong, and I wonder if there will be any retorts in the comments. And actually put in the comments below what you think about these numbers, and what you think about the whole crypto in general, about what Forbes says about 36% of investors would invest in Bitcoin, and about Deutsche Bank saying that cryptocurrencies are going to replace fiat currency. That's a pretty powerful statement from Deutsche Bank. So, all right, all the links are in the description. If you like this video, throw me a thumbs up if you would, and share this video far and wide, and subscribe if you have not subscribed already. This is Digital Dave, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.